Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Once Upon a Time in Huntsville podcast, hosted by me, Sampley Baranaga, and this episode is gonna be a good one. I got to sit down virtually, I guess, with my good buddy Jake Austin Walker. I worked with him on the set of 12 Mighty Orphans, and he is an actor known for a great show called Rectify. He was also recently in Stargirl, where he played one of the baddies, Henry King Jr. And also in 12 Mighty Orphans, of course. And also he has some new music out. He's a musician as well, really talented guy. Like, his music's really good. I would kind of compare it to maybe like Justin Timberlake. I actually really like it, and I'm not just saying that because he's my friend, but it's really good stuff. His new song is called Magnolia, out on Spotify, so go check it out. At the end of the episode, he threw out his Instagram. I'm going to say it again. So let me pull it up, because I don't know his username off the top of my head. Oh, it's just Jake Austin Walker, and he's the one with the little blue verified check. So you should go follow him. The reason I'm saying that is because near the end of the podcast, some of the audio becomes a little mumbly, I guess maybe something happened, but you can still hear what's going on. It's just I feel like that one was a little bit more cloudy when he said that. But the rest of the audio I'd say is pretty good. I've been playing around with it on my computer. But this is really a great episode. I think it's one of the better ones. I'm so excited for you guys to listen to it. We talk a little bit about his career growing up, his struggles growing up as a young man, and when he broke out into the film and music industry, and what he's been up to now. And then at the end, we talk a little about some video games, because we both have similar tastes in gaming. And I just also want to say thank you so much for those who continue to listen. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. God bless you for those who are throwing money at me every month. I finally set up a Patreon account, so maybe I can share that link. I think you just have to look at the podcast name on Patreon if you're interested about, donating some money monthly, or I understand during this time it's been a lot harder, but it's one of those things I gotta ask. But what else? Oh, and then I finally got some episodes up on YouTube. I finally figured out how to do that. I YouTubed how to do it, and then it was actually pretty simple. I felt kind of dumb because I just tried to do it by myself. But yeah, anyways. So enjoy this podcast episode, and again, Merry Christmas and God bless you. Oh yeah, and I just want to add, you should play a fun game listening to this podcast. I think it's the most I've ever said dude and like when I like I feel dude, like, if you guys are frustrated when you're listening to me, just know that I am just as, if not more, frustrated with myself. I just had to add this part in there. But seriously, enjoy the episode. Hey guys, Sampley Baranaga here, and I'm going to tell you why I use Anchor for my podcast, and it's simple, because it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer or tablet, whatever the heck you're using. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Do it, or else we're going to have a problem. And I don't want to have a problem with you.
All right, are we in here?
Hey, what's up, dude?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm awesome, dude. Oh, man, it's great to hear your voice.
Yeah, you as well. What's cracking, dude? Oh, my God.
What's cracking, man? No, I've done some podcasts. I don't know if you've listened to them.
Yeah, I listened. I listened. You did one with Bailey, didn't you?
Yeah, I did one. I just did one with Bailey and Slade. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, barely inside.
sorry, continue.
No, man, this is awesome. This is fun. I'm honestly wanted to start one in 2020 because I thought, why not? And maybe I'll
Dude,
hop
totally
into it in
go for it.
2021. Yeah, I know. I didn't know about this app and stuff. This is cool.
Yeah, I'll say this real quick. Like I was driving in the car
Yeah,
and like I can't remember what station I was on. I was listening to the radio and it was just like if you want to start a podcast, then the Anchor app or whatever. And I was like I'd never heard of it before and I was like, I should look into that.
yeah,
Because I listen to a lot of podcasts. And dude, it's like really easy to set up. I like I feel like I'm doing an ad right now.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but it actually is really fun and easy to use. But I was gonna say whenever I did the podcast with Bailey and Slade, and then I did one with Manny, and then I did one with Woodrow.
Yeah.
And like whenever I get to see like you guys from 12 My Orphans, like I really do get so like genuinely excited. Like I have the biggest smile on
Oh,
my face right
oh,
now.
dude. No, I know. I know. Well, it's so funny too, just because it was like, well, man, what's funny is I associate it with like, it's like we went to a really intense football training camp. It's almost
Dude,
what it felt
yeah.
like. Uh,
Like or
just to
as
like not be able to utilize any of it going into the next year.
yeah. Yeah, we
So
just like
like,
we're all bust.
yeah, just
Like
getting wrecked. But
yeah, draft stock has just plummeted after the film.
um, but no, I know it's good, man. It's good to chat.
Dude, I really do appreciate you because I know you're a busy man.
No,
Dude, you've
God,
been like
no.
killing it, dude.
I'm not a busy man.
Well,
I
it
appreciate
seems
you.
that way. It seems that way. 'Cause
Oh,
you just released Magnolia, which is a banger, man. Like it hit,
thank you. I appreciate that.
and then I just came back from the old Planet Fitness, and I was like, all of a sudden, I was like, all right, I'm gonna listen to like, oh, I'm gonna like refresh because I've listened to all your music, but it had been a while. Uh,
Yeah, sure, sure.
and dude, I think I listened to "I'm Ready" like 8 times on the
Oh,
treadmill.
yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a good one. I recorded that so long ago too. Dude, it's so funny when you like can have a little bit of perspective on when you started in something, you know what I mean? Like it's so hard to
Yeah,
see where you've well, I guess it's hard to really get an in-depth understanding of how far you've come when it's only comparative to like 6 months to a year or something, you know? When you've
yeah,
really like done something for at least I'd say like 2 to 3 years when you get to look back and think where you were then when you were recording that, what you thought it would be and stuff like that. It's so crazy. Because
yeah,
there's
it's nuts.
yeah, there's so many songs like you were saying that have come out of like that we released a few years ago that popped off a year or two later. You know, it's just nuts. It's like
Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing. I'm happy when any of it gets out to people who want to listen to
and
it. But
and
it's just it's insane.
yeah, and speaking of like starting off, like I kind of wanted to ask you. I'm really fascinated. I really love listening to uh, like when an interviewer asked like a celebrity like what they did like early childhood. Did they think that they were going to be in this industry? So, like what I guess what came first? Did music come first for you? Did acting come first? Did you like think that was even a possibility? Because like me, you were born in like a kind of southern area because you were born in Mississippi, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I was born in this small town called Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big town for Mississippi, I'd say. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's a really pretty town. But I grew up there, and I was born there at least, and then I grew up in this much smaller place called Hickory, Mississippi, which is mostly like a rural area, and yeah, nice people. It was really, it was
Oh,
a lot of like
you don't want to bash your hometown.
no, but I mean in
I'm just
general, it's
kidding.
just like most of them were pretty cool. And also when I say most, I mean like I grew up like a lot of them were my family. You know what I mean? A lot of people I grew up around with like cousins and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that. And so I don't know, it was mostly sports and just school and stuff like that. And I did a few school plays and I thought it was pretty fun. And then I started singing when I was a little kid. My dad and I we were stuck in a blizzard when we were moving to Oregon, I believe. And we'd like sing all these little road songs and stuff,
Uh-huh.
like creative. Yeah. And And my my dad was like, would look over and be like, "Oh, hey, you got a good little voice."
Yeah, he's
And
like, how
over
can
the
I
years,
monetize my
yeah, no, over the years, he he and my mother, we all like basically just at church and stuff, I'd sing along and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then my little sister also has a gorgeous singing voice, and so there became the thing where we would always just sing around the house. But what essentially happened is we started doing more plays and more singing and stuff like that. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is pretty cool. And my mother and her friends, her best friend's daughter, also were doing it as well. And there was this thing in Universal, it was like a talent search thing. And they were like, well, let's go to this thing because you get to go. Not only do you stay in like one of the resorts there,
Uh-huh.
you also get to go to both theme parks, which is like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So it was mostly a vacation, and then also this like talent search thing. We thought, what the hell? And so we go, and I'm having a good time because it's like, sorry for the coffee. I like drink this cold coffee and like coughing my brain out. But I know. But yeah, so we go to this event, and basically it's the first time I'm ever in an environment like
And,
this.
and how old were you?
I was probably, what was I? I was 8, I think.
Oh
8,
wow,
yeah.
that's like really
Yeah. And basically it's like a bunch of suits and stuff. I'd never really been in an environment even as luxurious, I'd say, as this. And I basically choked. I was trying to, what was the song? It was oh yeah, it was like Monday morning, like
I think I know
the
what you're
song
talking
was
about.
Monday morning, the country song. I can't remember how it goes right now, but I kind of remember a little bit. But
You choked at 8 and you're choking now. Come on.
dude, it's trauma, man. You
Yeah.
gotta let me experience it. No, but I choked up really hard.
Yeah.
And basically they're like, look, it's okay. Like, take this thing. It's called a monologue. I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, not that I was against it. I just was really like, whoa, this is all like, I was just going with the flow too.
They just give
It
you a
was just like,
Hamlet monologue.
dude, no. So they give me this like commercial monologue, I guess, like
Nice.
some sort of, some sort of something about teeth. I remember it's something about, well, my dentist tells me to use this because of this teeth and all this crap. And I
Uh-huh.
was just like, all right, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. So, or I was 8, so I don't really know if I knew what I was thinking then.
Yeah.
But so anyways, we do it, and they're like, "Oh, great!" They're like, "That's great." There's a thing later, like you move to the next stage, essentially, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, so I went to the next stage, and I guess the next stage is like a modeling thing, and you pass the modeling thing, and it was so funny. They like dress the kids up, and the kids go on stage and they model. They're modeling for everybody,
Yeah.
and you're like, don't really think about it. It's a hilarious thing. It's like a beauty pageant sort of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of mix with more like more talent related things, and then you find your manager if you got selected, and that's what happened. I was lucky enough to get selected, and I this is all just a whirlwind of a process because this is like such a small window of people that actually and at least at that time. Now it's more open. Like that was a long time ago. You know what I mean? But it's really interesting to think like that was just the last thing we thought was actually going to happen.
Yeah,
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so because we were there for just because it's like, oh, what the hell? It's our friends. It's Orlando and Universal, and I just never we never really did big events like that as a kid. Like that was just like kind of a gold mine itself. That was crazy that we got the deal. We're able to go to the thing. So that was just so huge for us. So like just the idea of like actually winning this talent thing and meeting like a manager and then being like, all right, well, we're gonna fly out to LA, and you're just kind of like, whoa, what?
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, so basically that happened, and then we left, and about a month and a half later, 2 months later, I think sometime in the summer, we flew out there and we met, and it turned out the manager chick was, I don't know if I'd go as far to say it's a scam, but
Oh,
she was trying to take way too much, like 35% or something.
oh
Which
wow.
I don't know if you're new guys, that is ridiculous. That is just
Yeah.
not like don't ever fall for anything like that. That's horrible.
Usually for a
Um,
project it's 10%, and then for non-union it's 15. So 35, yeah, that's
well, that's what I'm saying. No, exactly.
yeah.
So it was just way off, and even without us having much knowledge, we're just kind of like, okay, that's weird. And then I remember we were about to leave, and we met this other manager who turned out to be legit, and she was like super, super sweet and took us in and
Wow.
kind of, yeah, and we kind of stayed there for a little bit longer, did some stuff, left, and then kind of made the choice to officially go out there because that's when they were doing the whole like, if you want to do this, you gotta be out
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Like nothing's happening in the South, and this was before New Orleans and Atlanta was like the bustling industry it is now.
Yeah, because
This was
like Atlanta blowing up in New Orleans, that's like maybe like in that's been going on for like maybe 4 or 5 years. Like, so if you wanted to be
to the point where it is now. Yeah, to the point where it is now. Because well, yeah, and that's basically, I mean, and that's basically how it all got started, man. That's how it all really got started. It was, and then acting and music live kind of hand in hand, I feel like. So, well, they're all within the arts, so you're always kind of doing the same thing, or you're really close to it. So it kind of just made sense to do both, you know what I mean?
yeah. Did you ever audition for like any Disney Channel or Nickelodeon stuff out in LA? Because I know they're really big on.
Well, I guess that's a big staple. I guess I've been leaving out. Yeah, yes. Well, when I was growing up, I was a rather heavy kid. I was a
Oh, okay.
pretty chunky monkey when I was growing up. And but I don't know. Like I was very lucky. I had a very great like. My parents were really cool about it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're just like they're very sweet and very encouraging about everything. They're like, it doesn't matter, you can do whatever you want to do. Like, like I was just to have that, I was very lucky to have.
Yeah.
Just two parents that truly were just like, look, you want to do it, you can do it. That's how it's gonna get done. You know what I mean? And they're just like, look, people are gonna be mean. People are mean. Like that's just the world. Like they're like, it's just like there's some things you can do about it. You can try your best to not be one of those people, and that will like expand upon itself. Which is like a great way to look at it. But they're just real. It's like, look, kids are gonna pick on you.
Wow, that's so
going through it. Like they were so real about it because they just like because I would come home like crying and stuff about.
Oh
like,
man, yeah.
Well, yeah, and this is not to this, but it just it's just part of.
No,
part
yeah,
of
absolutely.
It's part of socializing in general. I mean, some kids come home crying because they had like snack packs in their lunch and that wasn't cool. You know what I mean? So, like, so it's like, yeah, kids, we cry about everything anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it was good to have parents that were so on an emotional level just available in that aspect to be like, look, this is
Yeah.
And it made me very independent very quickly in a great way. Like it made me very like, and also the way I grew up is I grew up in a like huge expansive land, like many acres of land.
Yeah.
Passed down from like grandfather, and my grandmother was still on the land, and so we had a house on the land, and so I grew up like 6:30 in the morning taking trash cans out like half a mile out to the it felt like half a mile, probably like it was like a quarter mile out to the road, wait for the bus, get on the bus, come home, throw my bag down, get on my four-wheeler, go out to like and shit. And like, you know what I mean? Like that was my but we didn't have, but what's funny is it wasn't like an estate. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like we didn't have an estate. We were like we're very lucky with what we have. But it wasn't like this like luxurious estate. It was a very like it was a quaint little area. We just had a lot of what I call backwoods. So you could just like go right through that, and so like I grew up doing that, and so being able to have that escape and stuff. And then like we talked about video games and stuff, man. Oh my god, that was one of the biggest escapes. But yeah, so anyways, I teeter off to do that. But that was really what was different about my acting life. Essentially, like it's felt like such a long career in the sense of when it started, I was like that kind of Ronald McDonald looking little kid, like really just like this
Yeah.
skinny little happy
Uh-huh.
redhead kid. And
Yeah.
then
No,
10,
I
11
relate.
hit, and I got big,
Wow.
and and I was probably heavier from what's so funny though, because of like my parents being so supportive, I was so athletic. I did like so much. I got to play so many sports and stuff,
Yeah.
and and I think that's half of it. Unfortunately, it's like why you also don't join stuff, or at least I didn't when I was in that like state, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's because you just don't have like the emotional support at home, or you don't have like,
Yeah.
which makes you think you can't do it, or you don't have like the friendship group that makes you think you can't
Mhm.
do it. I got really lucky because I had like a good support group
That's
immediately.
that's
But so
awesome.
I played like, yeah, so I played a ton of sports. I was a very active little heavyset kid, and so yeah, for Disney, man, oh my god, that was the funniest thing. As I always had to be this like energized, like Disney
Yep.
is so
Yep.
funny. Well, not what Disney is today, but when I was doing Disney when I was a kid, it's like all those testing and everything. So there's 12 people, like normally 12 producers, and you're always trying to look at like the 4 or 5 that really like you because they're just
Wow.
smiling and trying to really
Yeah.
sell it to everybody else, and you're just like sitting there like spinning plates or juggling, you know what I mean? Like out of breath,
Yeah.
I'm so full because I like anxiety ate before going to
Yeah. That's a
audition.
lot of
So you're
pressure on
like,
a child.
so you're like, well, no one's, what's so funny is like the pressure is all, in a lot of ways, the pressure is just all in your head. You know what I
Yeah. Oh
mean?
yeah.
Because pressure is perception. And obviously, like we're like increasingly perceptive as at that
Mhm.
age as we're growing up because we're trying to understand everything around us, right? So like especially in that environment, and you can see it, some kids were just like really calm, but me at the time, I just I would get so
Yeah.
nervous and those big energy auditions. And I think that's what started to click for me too, is I always realized when it was like the heavy drama or slow pace calm, just kind of be with the story type
Mhm.
stuff,
Yeah.
that stuff always made sense. I was like, okay, so this is real. This is what would, if you're sad, this is how you'd be sad. You'd be sad because of X, Y, and Z. I was like, oh, this makes sense to me. You know, the like Disney Channel stuff just didn't make sense to me. Like my brain couldn't click. Even as a kid, I was just like, why am I saying this so loud and with a smile all the time? And like, why do I have to do this with my eyes all the time? Like, wouldn't people get it if I said it? And it's like, no, you have to be, you know. And like and that is a specific form of acting. I have so much respect for
Yeah.
like sitcoms and
Mhm.
all that. Dude, that is its own form of acting,
Oh yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Like, like it's just as hard to flip over to the drama side as it is drama to go to that. I personally feel like, because that's a certain type of energy. And yeah, man. But so it's interesting. So yeah, so I spent most of my career doing the being kind of like the best friend, kind of heavy set best friend or whatever. And I honestly loved it. I was starting to really, really enjoy it. I was starting to do some movies and stuff, and then 14, 15, I remember I used to joke with my dad. I used to be like, Dad, I think I'm always gonna be like this. It's okay, like I've been working out and everything. I was like, I've just accepted it, And my dad's like, look, bud, he's like, that's great and all, but you're just like me. You're gonna shoot out of it. And I'm like, I don't know, Dad. I'm always gonna. I think this is it. Like and he's like, no, you're gonna shoot out of it. And like 14, 15, I like overnight, man. It just like
Wow.
complete change. Yeah, and it was a really interesting thing because at this point with acting, because I've been doing it for like 4 years. Yeah, so at this point we left LA after there was a pretty big death in the family. So we left and just kind of
Mhm.
reevaluated and just figured things out. And basically I went to high school for a year, like in person high school, I guess you say, because all my other schooling was like,
Yeah.
homeschooling or some sort of uh, other form of education through like options for youth and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Because because what happened essentially is after my first year of high school, which was really interesting because again, I was lucky. I ran into an amazing group of people, and I just kind of did my thing with them. And towards the end of the year, I remember, because I wasn't doing many auditions or anything, I get this like one audition, and it's for
No,
Rectify. And I
yes.
remember my yeah, and my and it was so funny because I was just kind of like, I was burnt out, you know. I was like, I didn't want to do it. I was like, I'm in high school, maybe I'll just like find something to do, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But that wasn't the choice I really wanted. I was just kind of like, yeah. And my mom was like, no, come on, let's tape it. Let's just do it. And I was like, all right. And so we like taped it, and then they called and they're like, hey, we want him to come in. So we drive down there, and I meet with them. I have to do like a testing twice. And this is another, it kind of felt like when I first started, it was that same sort of like whirlwind, you know what I mean? Like the same sort, it felt like Orlando all over again. Not because like I hadn't experienced this world now, but just because I was in high school for so long and I was about to be like part of a show for like a network. I
Yeah.
was like, Jesus, that's a jump. I was like, that's a
Yes.
leap, man. I was like, this is all we tried to get when I was a kid. And then, you know, since that, like, those priorities as a kid was gone, I wasn't living in LA. I was like, you know, back, it's like you become a chameleon in your environment, essentially. And so I was just kind of like, I don't know. And then it all happened so fast. I remember it was like during finals.
Oh,
I
wow.
remember, yeah, my agent calls at like, agent at the time calls at like, oh my God, like 11:30. And I'm still getting up at like 6 a.m. to go to school. And she calls and she's like, hey, you got it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, great. I'm gonna go to bed. Like I literally, you know what I mean? Like I really just didn't understand the weight of what, and we didn't know what it was either. Like we didn't know it was a series. We didn't know if it was like a web series or what it was, because Sundance was being very hush hush about it. Yeah, because it was their first ever scripted series they'd ever done.
Do you mind if I cut in and just explain what Rectify was?
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So after we finished shooting in Texas, I came back, and I was like looking through everyone's like IMDb, and then I landed on yours, and I was like, and I know because I had never seen Rectify before, I had never even heard of it.
Right.
And
Yeah. I mean,
I saw it, and I was like, oh dang, he's like in almost like every single episode. So I was like, I have to watch this. Like I want to watch your work, dude. I was blown away. I was like, how have people not talked about this show? For me, the show is on the same level as like Breaking Bad or True Detective.
Bro, well, A, it's very nice of you to say that, and B, it's what's so lovely about being part of the show now, being older, and especially being able to reflect on it. It's just, we all knew that when we were doing it. Like we all knew, because we got first of all, we got 4 seasons. That's very generous. We're very lucky for that. But second, like we knew it was that good. We just knew like the exposure is what it is, you know what I mean? But that didn't stop anyone from doing like amazing work. And I grew up on that show. Like who I am as an actor is because of a lot of what I was able to like take and learn from those co-stars.
You were surrounded by like a masterclass of acting.
Dude, so good. Yeah, I was. Yeah, and they really grew, and I grew on the show. I mean, you can just like tell the difference over the years. Just because it's like, it put a lot of things in perspective, because, and that kind of piggybacks because essentially when I first got to Rectify, it's so funny because I'm this kid that, and what's so interesting is I still loved acting. Like once we were getting back into it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, you know, it's you know, when you come to LA, it's like, if it's something you love and you never really get to do it besides acting classes and not like actually work. And I was lucky enough to work a lot as a kid, but I'm just saying, like towards the end when I was starting to, right before my family member passed away, we were just kind of like, oh, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like just nothing's happening. It kind of bums you out. And then that happened. It just seemed like the right thing to go home for a little bit. And it was just so crazy to not only get back on a project, but to go back into a project that was for something of its caliber, I'd never experienced before. And to be like a series regular and what that entails and everything, I didn't even know what a series was. Like, you know what I mean? Like I like even that aspect of it, like I was like, wait, how many am I in? What?
Wow.
Like, what do you mean? I was like, wait, I'm in the pictures and stuff. Like, I didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't just show up and say a line and leave. Like, I'm in it for more than 2 seconds. But which is funny. The first few episodes I am in it for like 2 seconds. But no, it was really cool to experience something like that. And I just remember when I first got there, you know, I don't have a background in conventional theater or anything like that. So a lot of those actors do, and they're just they're professionals, you know what I mean? And so when I was first working with them, they're not rude. They were very, very sweet and very they really took me in. And I remember it was more just for me because I was like, you know, they're so real about it. So I remember the first scene I'm working with Abigail, and like, I remember this was just so crazy for me because I hadn't been in any acting classes, and I'm just thrown into this like master class of acting, like you said. I remember the writer's like, "Can you kind of do an accent?" And I was like trying to do an accent, and I don't know. No one really said anything about it, but I don't really have an accent to show what everyone else does. And I was just like, and it's so ironic because I used one in the movie, which like I'm very interested to hear. But I kind of barely used one of the show. I remember the writer was always just like, and then he just kind of allowed it. But Ray was like, Ray was the best, man. He's the writer of the show, and like, you know, head creative. And Scott Teams wrote it too. There's a lot of just great people around.
Ray McKinnon, like not only a great writer, but an underrated actor. Yes.
Too. Insane actor. And yeah, basically it was really cool, man. I remember how long do I have to talk on this? I feel like
this is great. This is gold.
Okay, so dude, I have like 3 of my favorite moments. So so this is a great moment. Was one of the first scenes I ever had to shoot on Rectify. It was the scene where I'm talking to J. Smith Cameron, who plays Janet, or my mom, and I'm talking to her about like Daniel, which is Aiden Young, coming home from prison, because I know about him. I've just never met him. I was saying like he can have my room and all this stuff. And it was the craziest thing. It was one of the first scenes I had to shoot, and I've only met this woman like. And keep in mind, my whole last year of life was spent in high school. Like, that's just so funny. It's like, and this is so reflective for me right now talking to you about it, because we're just really laying it all out. I'm like, wow, my last year of life was in high school completely, prom, everything. Like, that was high school. And so I had to like climb in the chair and just like sit with her. And she like held me kind of, you know what I mean? And they didn't end up using it. But I just remember it was the craziest thing I'd done at the time, right? Because I was just like, oh my God, this, and you know, it really just made you start thinking, it's like, oh wow, this isn't me acting, like you have to be this character. You have, like, it was really interesting because these people were showing me like, no, you have to, you know, this is where you have to go with it. This is where you have to
put all your cards.
You know what I mean? And it was never rude. It was very just like, I was like, man, I need to keep up. Like, I got to do something. You know what I mean? And then, and so everyone was really, really cool the first season. That was one of the great moments. And then what was really crazy, the second season is when everything kind of changed, because there was just a lot of things in my life that like I'd gone through like a decent amount of emotional trauma because of my insecurity about my weight when I was a kid. But like, other than that, I didn't have too many like traumatic experiences as a child besides bullying and stuff. And even that I got over, because I'd say I'm lucky enough. Like, I have pretty strong willpower, because of all the support and stuff I've gotten over my life. I know I have a good support system to fall back on, which gives me more support, you know, within myself, or has helped me build one through that. And so now I have a pretty strong stability. Like, nothing can really, not too much gets to me. You know what I mean? And so that's,
and I can attest to that, because every day on set in Texas, I made fun of you. I bullied you. Just walked up to you and pushed you and gave me money, and you did not fake. I was impressed.
I never cried.
Oh, dang, I'm so sorry.
That's what's important. Yeah. But yeah, and so basically, after second season, my parents split up, and
Yeah,
there's like this whole situation, and so going back into the next season, there's like all this like emotional built up tension in me that like I didn't know how to handle already because I was a teenager, and so it's so interesting like having this like newfound thing to pull from that I just didn't have the first season, and kind of like starting to connect the dots with like a lot of the tips I was being given from my castmates and stuff. And there was definitely an evolution there. And I was like my one of my second favorite moments is we had this whole scene where like me and Abigail and Clayton were all like smoking weed together and stuff like that in the scene, and that was just like a really fun one to do because I remember we were just like talking about all sorts of different stories of our life and just like different acting tips and what they learned and mistakes they made, and that was like one of the coolest things. And then the third coolest thing, and this is something I've always kind of kept with me till today, is I remember, I don't know, in the very first episode of the pilot, I was showed Daniel Dazed and Confused, and we like watched it and laughed together, and it's a whole thing. I remember for that scene, not before the laughing scene, before we had like the whole like sitting there and laughing and talking and all that stuff, we were just talking, and he just goes, okay, you and I, Aiden goes, as a thing, I'm going to talk to you as Daniel, and you're going to talk to me as Jared. And I was like, okay. Like, and dude, this is the pilot. So again, I was still like, I was not in the, like, I was in this mentality, but I was also just like, whoa, what is this dude talking about? Right. And he'd be like, hello. And I'd be like, hey, what's up? Yeah. You know what I mean? He's like, no, he's like, don't think about it. Don't think about it. You know what I mean? And like, we just did that for at least 15, 20 minutes while they were setting up. And that sat with me forever. And I like just that whole idea of that exchange and everything. It changed a lot of my approach to like acting and everything just from like that little bit. And there's been so many little nuances oh, dude, I had great moments with Clayne too.
Dude, yes,
Clayne's awesome too. Clayne's an amazing actor. Yeah, I had amazing. Yeah, there's just honestly too many, but yeah. And then so that was essentially, because I guess I'm just getting my whole timeline. Because you're like, when did it start? And I'm trying to think, catching up to 12 to the 12 Horsemen. I'm just trying to see because like then it was basically that the Rectify for four seasons, which we were so lucky. Dude, 4 seasons is crazy. Like now that I think about it, I've been a part of a few different shows now.
Dude,
just thinking about 4 seasons of a show.
That's incredible that you got to do that. And if, for the people listening, if you haven't seen Rectify, I just watched it on Netflix. I believe it's still on there. If it's not, like, it's worth buying like on Blu-ray or online. It's that good. I'm not just saying that because I'm a friend of Jake. But
yeah, I hope it's still on Netflix.
It's just a really great show, and it's like hard to watch because of like what's going on. But I don't think it ever crosses the line of ever being too over dramatic. I think it just like, man, like we were talking about before, Ray McKinnon, like he's just such a great writer, and like I need to go back and rewatch it again.
Yeah, man. He's amazing. But yeah, we got 4 amazing seasons out of that, and then let's see, after that, oh my gosh, yeah. So that wrapped up, and then what was really funny is Clayne went off to do Lethal Weapon, and yeah. Oh, that was right. In between Rectify, I remember I did Fear the Walking Dead.
And then so like after once you wrapped on Rectify, did you kind of like have this like empty feeling, like almost like I should be on set right now, but I'm not? Like, what's going on?
No, man. I think what I had, and it's like a continuous struggle, I'd say, of like the human condition, but also this industry as well. It's just like, you had this weird thing where when you're working, you're happy to be working, but everything becomes normal, right? And so then you're like, man, I'd love a break. And then you take a break. You have like 2 weeks of a break. You're like, man, I'm working, right? And so it's really, I mean, really that's all it is. And then it's like one of the craziest things for Rectify for me was put everything in perspective. It's like, okay, now you have to really think about why you're
Mhm.
doing this. You know what I mean? Because the first season was like, all right, I'm right out of high school. Like, I'm just doing this. This is a cool show. I'm getting to do it. I'm getting regular. This is all new to me. Second season's like, oh, wow, this
Yeah.
is like a regular job. Okay, this is what I'm doing. And the second season also is like, oh my God, thank God, this is an escape from what's going on in my life right now. So this is great. And then after second season, it's like, okay, I'm taking this serious again because, like I said, I was starting to find these emotions and just like what my, my respect for acting changed a lot, and so I basically had a huge change in opinion on what I really wanted to do, and I was like, I want to deep dive into this. I want to get serious with this, and that's when I was lucky enough to do Fear the Walking Dead in between. And I came back for third season. I remember I got this tattoo. I got my first tattoo in between the second and third season, which like actors don't do if you're on a show. Like tattoos are fine, just don't do it in between and not tell the show, especially if it's big. So I got this one on my arm.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your teardrop tattoo. You got that removed?
No.
Oh, why you double down?
But yeah, I remember I got that, and that was like a whole mess. And I was like, oh God, well, there's no going back now. But I do remember, I won't say who, but there was like a certain basically I was told like that tattoo will cut any job you want in half. And then ironically, after that, I booked every like dream job I ever wanted. So I was just like, and I was really shocked too, because that was the person that said that was very high status. But the thing is, they weren't being rude. They weren't rude.
Give you some
like, look, I guess. They're like, it's like, look, I gotta be honest with you. Yeah. And but it's just also interesting because that was like another immediate lesson learned, is that like everyone's gonna have opinions of this industry based off how long they've been in it, what version they were in, what had happened to them. You know what I mean? And also it's like, if you're not part of the new age, you'll never know, because a lot of the modern actors today are all covered and stuff in tattoos. But I just thought that was a funny staple. But yeah, so when I finished that up, finish Rectify up. And then, you want to talk about a drought. That's what was interesting, is when I finished Rectify, like, it was this interesting time where I was kind of like, I was very serious about acting, but during that time, I'd only really done Rectify. Like, that was my acting. You know what I mean? And I auditioned and stuff, but it was just no luck. And I mean, I was lucky enough to do The Walking Dead in between, but that was just like guest star stint. And so I kind of fell into this place. It's like, where I'm so lucky to be on a show, right? To have that kind of process, but it was also so that it is a job.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes a job too, and like anything, and so the fulfillment was still there. It's just, as a teenager, I was just kind of like, what do I want to do now? Because this definitely still what I want to do. And that's when I was really getting into music. I was like, man, like, oh yeah, that was, there's one great thing coming, as I taught myself through YouTube Academy, is what I call it, on taught myself how to play guitar during Rectify. And so I was starting to get into music a lot, really like heavy into music again. And I remember towards the tail end of Rectify, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just start doing covers, and I'll start like playing music, and hopefully something comes from that, because maybe that'll be like that second fulfillment I want, because I didn't want to lose the show. Like, I loved everything about it. I loved having it. I loved like how much I was pushed by the crew and cast and everything to like really, act and, really teach yourself. And I loved every aspect about that, and obviously having a job, and I love that, but I wanted something else.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Stimulant, I don't know if stimulus, but stimulus. But yeah, and so I started doing that, and I remember basically what happened. I started posting some covers, and a friend of my dad's through Krav Maga is this amazing producer, and his name's Jim Roach, and he basically saw one of my covers through my dad, and he was like, "Hey man, this would be awesome." I was like, I would really love, it'd be awesome if I could come in too, like to we could just
Yeah.
try a song or something and see how it goes. And it's this kind of like beautiful moment because I had just wrapped Rectify, and he kind of helped set up like Apple. I'm pretty sure it's Beats Radio.
Oh, wow.
Like he helped set that up, and so like he was doing
Mhm.
that for a while and got done with that. And right when I was getting done with Rectify, and that's when we just went into like music mode, and that's what's crazy. So I started doing like music. I was doing like tons and tons and tons of music with him, and we're still doing it to this day. And then, God, let's see where we are on the timeline. We're trying to get to 12. I'm trying to see how we linked up.
I was gonna ask. So how long? I
Yeah.
think you talked to us about. I think we asked you on set. But just for the listeners, how long was the audition process for Stargirl? Because
yes, that's what we're getting into. Right. Okay, yeah. So that's what I was about to hop to. I was like, God, what was it? Okay, yeah, because then so basically, Stargirl happened. So I was doing this show called 5 Points for Facebook of all things. I had no idea. Like they were like one of their first Facebook shows. I didn't know that was even going to be a thing. But it was actually really cool. I had amazing castmates: Madison Pettis, Spencer Moore the third, Haley Kiyoko, Ray Champ, Nathan Potman. Yeah, they're all amazing people. Awesome cast. And so I was doing that, and then in between I was auditioning because we didn't know if we were gonna do a second season or not. Right? This is also new, a Facebook Watch show. Like we didn't know. Like it was so new, and in between that time, I was doing music really heavy. So what happened is I went in for Stargirl during this audition, and I think it was in October was the first audition. I went in for one of the heroes, and they're like, "Look, we love the read, but we just don't think you're a fit for the hero. But there's another character they're writing, and they have like you're one of the people in mind." And I was like, "Oh, awesome!" They're like, "Yeah, we'll call you in when it's ready." I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'll take that. Hell yeah, that's awesome." So like a month goes by, I'm just doing my thing, really focusing heavy on music, and I was in a really lucky position where we were going to go see a label. They're like flying us out and booking us a hotel and everything in New York, and that was planned way in advance, and everyone knew and everything. And so it's about the day for me to head out, and it's like 2 days before I head out, and they call me and they're like, "Hey, can he come in? Like, can he come into audition real quick, like for this new character?" It's like, "Oh crap, yeah." So I run in, do the audition. It was a really fun one. Rich Delia casting, awesome. But yeah, so I did the audition, and then dipped right. And keep in mind, this is a month later. This other audition. So like, they were not kidding. And they're like, "There's another character in mind. We'll call you in a month." Like, so just keep in mind that happens all the time. That is a real thing.
Were you like, they're just like being nice, like, or did you?
Well, I mean, Rectify was kind of the same way. Like everything I've ever booked has always been towards like the end of the year, or like right on the spread the moment. You know what I mean? Like right there. Yeah, spontaneously. And so I was kind of used to it. But what tripped me up was I did that audition that one a month later, and I'm about to leave to New York, and they're like, "Hey, can he come test?" And we're just kind of like, and this is and also to give you a time frame, this is 2018. This is all happening October of 2018, October through December of 2018, and we're like, "Well, we can't come test because like, this label's already covered the trip and everything. So we can't just cancel on them now. That's just we've all known this for a month. Like we can't do it." And they're basically just like, "Well, if you can't make the test and there's someone else, you might be giving up this role." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess it's just like that. I'm just gonna have to do that, because what I kept saying is like, there's no reason I can't do both of these things, right? It's just the thing is the days are on the same day. I was like, if you guys could move a day or just like give me a day, that's all I need. You know what I mean? I was like, these both could work. And so basically, I was like, well, look, I'm just gonna have to give it up. Like I can't do it, and then basically, that's what happened. I went to the label thing. It was a great time. And then when I got back, they called and they're like, "Hey, so we're not testing." And they booked me off that. They booked me off that second audition, which is the craziest audition process I've had because normally it's not that quick, and and so the audition process for that was very, very crazy. It was very very like, and I don't want it to be like I'm this like I'm trying to sound like a cool dude's like, yeah, and I said no. Like I was really freaking
No,
out.
yeah, you're
Like,
not that type of
obviously,
person,
like,
man.
no,
Yeah, I
yeah, I
bet.
was stressing, but I was like, but at the same time, that was a big thing. Is like in 5 points, I had just played this kind of bully role, but he had this really cool arc, like
Yeah,
what was really messing with him and stuff, and I love that. Like I love playing like, messed up people if they have some sort of purpose, because I don't inherently
yeah,
believe that
yeah.
they're like good or evil. You know what I mean? So basically, I just got done doing that. And I remember I knew this was a superhero show, so I knew that. So I was already pumped about that because I'm a comic and video games.
Oh yeah.
You know that, like, I love that stuff. So I was already really, really pumped about that. But they wouldn't tell me what
Oh
the character
wow.
was. Like, they didn't tell me like that. I knew he was recurring, but I didn't know how much he was recurring. I didn't know what type of character he was. Besides, like, the character I auditioned for was kind of like this sensitive, like, recluse asshole, right? And so I was just kind of like, well, is that what he's going to be? Is he just kind of like a bully? Because it's like, I don't really want to be a bully on a superhero show if I'm
Yeah,
shooting it for like
yeah.
6 months of my life. You know what I mean? I was like, A, that's something I love. And B, it's like, that's just the last thing I want to be on something I love if there's no payoff, you know? Because a lot of superhero shows, there's just like the mean jerk and they're mean, and
Yeah,
they get beat up and they're not mean anymore. You know what I mean? But it's like, but not mean anymore in the sense like,
yeah.
it's
They
not like
just
they
kind of
help anybody
disappear.
out. They're just like, they don't mess with you. You don't, and then you don't see the character anymore. Yeah. I was like, that's not what I want to do. And so that's another reason I was so on the fence. And so when I got back and they offered it, we were still just kind of like, they still wouldn't tell us what was going on. And not in a way like they're hiding it from us. More it's just like, it's like, there's
Yeah.
confidential stuff. It's a big show. So like we totally understood. It's just kind of like, oh man. And I remember Jeff Johns was like, literally, and this isn't just because it's Jeff Johns, but I mean, he's literally just one of the coolest dudes. It's basically like, look, come to
Wow,
my
that's
office so I
awesome,
can tell you
dude.
about this character. And I was like,
Yeah.
and so I was already like freaking out. I was like, oh my God. Like, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. No problem. But yeah, and then I get there, and that's when he's basically like, I shook my hand. He was really, really nice guy and stuff. And he was just basically telling me, he's like, look, so I know how you feel about the bullying thing. He's like, I just want to let you know your whole arc. And then that's when he tells me about like, yeah, he's like, you're going to get powers. This is your character from the comics and stuff. And the minute he said it, I just started like, there was like a crazy feeling in my stomach. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Like, it was what, you know what I mean? It was literally one of those things where I just literally started like,
That's
like
awesome.
my heart started pumping because I was just like, this isn't real. Because I already started feeling crazy because you're sitting in his office and, and it's like DC Comics, it's all the stuff you grew up on. So there's like Batman, everything's everywhere. And, like he wrote some of my favorite comic stories. And like, you're just sitting there and he's also like, so here's the hero. And, then like I go home, I'm starting to look this guy up. I'm like, holy shit, like this guy has comic books. This guy, like, what I mean? I'm starting to like freak out, you know what I mean? And then and then that's when we called and I told my manager and everything. We're like, yes. Like, and his arc was so cool. I mean, the show's been out for a while, so I don't necessarily spoil it, but it's just like what he got to do was just amazing. It was just like such a dream come true. And then the 12 happened right there, and that piggybacked just like right into that. That was so funny. I literally spent a year with it. I'm telling you, like.
Does it feel weird that you're not with him right now, shooting something?
Yeah, I know. Man, I tell you what, it's crazy. It's like it was so wild. Like that was what was so nuts about 2019 as a whole. Those you hear so many of these myths in the industry about like, once it rains it pours. Like I was so lucky to get a project in general. So the idea of doing like 2 projects I genuinely love back to back was just such a
absolutely,
such a blessing. You know what I mean? So like that was already like a myth that was debunked for me. I was like, oh my God, it can happen. And then just like doing a show, and if you're having a lot of fun with your character and the writing works out, sometimes you can get like bumped up and you can start like doing more in the show, like they add episodes and stuff, and like that happened. And it's just a lot of crazy stuff I just always thought were myths, like truly myths. I was just like, I've been doing this long enough that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And like it all just like it shattered the glass ceiling as far as like what I thought this industry was when it came to stuff like that. So it was a really crazy
So
experience,
you
man.
rap on Stargirl, and for those listening, it's now on HBO Max. So definitely go check it out.
Yeah, HBO Max, CW, the CW app, and then if people are more into
Yeah,
like super super duper high quality, they can buy it on like Amazon Prime or
and
on demand for like the 4K options and stuff like that. Because the CGI and everything, like this show is literally like, I'm not just trying to toot our own horn here, but the show's like
dude,
CGI
it
is
is,
just
and
absolutely insane. So
I'm gonna be honest. I usually don't like superhero shows that are on TV, but like this
superhero
one,
stuff, yeah,
it's such
yeah,
a huge step up, and it's
yeah.
also just like pure fun. Like you just feel like a kid watching it. You're just like, man, this is just awesome. I love
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize it was gonna give me such a big it just gives me
that,
like ET vibes, it gives me Back to the Future vibe. Like it's got that like that Goonies
dude.
vibe.
And
Yeah. It's sick, yeah.
so you rapped on that,
Um
and then like, wasn't it like a week or a couple days after Ty and Lane call you up or something?
Bro, craziest thing ever. So yeah, so wrapped on the show like September 12th. I was back in LA. And then I'm staying at my dad's house, like my
Uh-huh.
dad's stepmom's house, and just going to this thing, like kind of like trying to get like a workout going again, and just like trying to have some sort of schedule because like my
Yeah,
life was just uprooted, gone for 6 months, like doing a dream job, and then obviously you're going through like emotional stages when you're doing that too, because you're like, this was like a dream, like this is like something I thought I was going to reach so much
hmm,
later in life, and now I've achieved it, and it kind of like doesn't mess you up, it doesn't put you like you're not necessarily sad
yeah,
about it, but it's like, oh man, what's next? Like, what do I think I'm
yeah.
gonna do
You just
next?
get
Like
so
what's, you know
hungry.
what I mean? So that was it, dude. Yeah, that's all it is, and it sucks. It's like the starving artist. It's like the worst. It's the worst thing. Like it's so great and I don't know, influential, and it kind of makes you want to get stuff done, but at the same time, if you have no direction, then it
Mhm.
literally just feels like
Yeah,
you're eating yourself from the inside. Um, but yeah, but it was September 12th, and then it was so funny is while we were shooting this, I remember the other castmates auditioning for it, and Luke talking about it, and I didn't know anything of it, and I just don't think like the main guy they were going for, I don't think they had exactly who they wanted for him yet, because I remember talking to him after they booked the movie. You remember they're like
yeah.
casting, in Europe and everywhere. Like they really didn't know what route they were going to go with him yet, and so all my buddies auditioned for like Fairbanks and stuff like that. And essentially, what happened was I finally get a call to go in, and I go in, and it's just one of those like it's one of those casting situations.
Yeah.
Casting was nice enough, you know what I mean, but it was just very like, okay, who are you? Okay, yeah, and so I was just like, we start the audition, and it was just something I really enjoy. I really connected with it, if
Yeah.
that's what they say, I guess. But I really enjoyed it, and yeah, and I remember getting a call and I just remember thinking like, I'm about to go to Texas. Like I know it. Like I'm about to, like, this is happening. I was like, I'm going to Texas, and and
Mm.
basically that's what happened, man. Like it was so weird because I was seeing, like, I guess there was a Texas game at that time too. So like I saw so many
Uh-huh.
sweaters and hats and stuff that day with Texas on. I was like,
Wow,
what the hell
that's
is going
crazy.
on? Like after my audition. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird. And I can't tell if it was just like the effect where what the Mandela effect, where I thought I was seeing it and everything, but I was like, but it's just like, I never see this much Texas shit in my life. Like what's going on? and and so yeah, so I left the audition, get home, get called that they want to do a director session. I was like, oh wow, this is hilarious. And so Skype director session, I'm talking to
Mhm.
Ty, and we're just chatting everything. And I was basically like, yeah, I was like, it's so crazy too, man, because if I did this, I'd literally just go right back to working with Luke. And he's like, you worked with Luke? And I was like, oh yeah, dude, I was just working with Luke for like 6 months. Like I was like, that'd be so funny. And yeah, so we just talked about life and didn't really go over the lines as much as
Yeah.
we just talked about, everything. And then yeah, and then in my car driving to, I'm pretty sure I was driving with my girlfriend. Yeah. And yeah, I get the call and they're just like, hey, you got it. And I was like, oh, crazy. I was like, no freaking way. I was like, when do I leave? And they're like, oh, you leave in 3 days. And I was like, what? Dude, I was at first like, it's funny because I was so hungry for work again, but I was just already, I was like, whoa, wait, what? Like, and that's what's so funny about our lives is I was thinking is like this year, you know, like it's, you know, I didn't do anything this year. And so it's so funny to think like next year though, you could literally, or even it's like at the beginning, I'm working at the beginning of the year. So it's like, even working at the beginning of the year, it's so crazy to think it's like that could be your life. Like in this industry, it's just you're not doing anything and then you're literally just gone. Like 9 months of my life just gone. Like not gone in a way like I got so many amazing experiences, but I'm just saying like and I could have never, you know, there would have been no way for me to be able to tell that.
Yeah.
To know that at all. And it's really interesting because I'm big like you know, I believe in the manifestation and all that stuff and really laying out like having a good whiteboard and a good board, just really lay out your life and you know, and even if you're not into spiritual things, just having structure in our lives. Like we're such creatures of purpose, you know what I mean? So having some sort of thing to like mark off and stuff. I was really big on saying like I was gonna be gone and stuff a while, but I don't think I was technically expecting it the way I was expecting.
That's just so
it,
fast.
You know what I mean?
Like that, I just love
it. Dude, yeah, I got in on the 12th and I was out on the 23rd.
And Slade Bailey and I kind of talked about meeting like you and Levi and Jacob for the first time that night outside of the hotel. Like, and I'm just gonna be honest, like, before I met like you and Levi and Jacob, I was like kind of worried. I was like, man, like, what if like, because like I was like, I mean, I've met, and I'm not saying that this is true of every LA person, but I've met some guys that are a little full of themselves. Yes, they're a little full of themselves.
Yeah, no, well, look, you know what's upsetting though? The one thing I gotta say for the LA locals, it's not the LA locals most of the time. It's not. Most of the LA locals are some of the sweetest people in the world. It's the assholes that left their town. No one liked them because they were assholes, and then they came here.
And then they say they're from LA.
Other assholes. Yeah, no. All jokes aside, man, it's just like. You know, it's just how some people choose to hold themselves, and unfortunately, in our industry, sometimes that's admired, or it's an interesting time right now too, because you can't really like, I don't know, like I feel like it's so hard to speak up because no one's gonna be like, you know what I mean? It's hard to speak up if someone's a jerk because you don't want to risk your job or something like that, and it's like you don't know who they're connected to and stuff like that. Like I remember, like I've been on projects when I was younger, and I was just kind of like, "Wow, to each other, like that's crazy." But it's all about how a set's run too, man. It's all about the people behind it. Because like I've been lucky. All my jobs, I've had amazing people run it. Like and then I've been on like a few sets where you're just like, this is a nightmare. Like you know, like everyone's mean here. Everyone's allowed to be mean here. You know what I mean? It's just like. Well, that's my thing. It's like certain things are allowed. Like there are some shows, you know, you hear rumors and stuff. There's some shows where this stuff happens, and you're just like, Jesus, really? Like
and I want to be like you for a second because so I worked. I did this film, and I was just a day player on it. And before that, I worked a couple days on this other film, this smaller film, and on that first smaller film, like it was kind of like, oh, these guys are kind of mean, and like this is not fun. And I wasn't expecting this. And then I went and worked on this like even bigger project. And I was like, man, I'm really nervous because I was blessed enough to be able to work with Jason Segel. I'm like, I'm a huge fan of like all of his stuff because he's hilarious. And I was really nervous because I was like, man, like I like him. What if he's a big jerk? Like, and I was so they drove me into base camp, and I just see him standing there from a distance, and I was really nervous. And I was like, maybe I should walk over to him and say, hey, you want to run lines? So I walk over to him. Before I can get anything out, he just extends his hand. And it's just like, oh, dude, are you playing this guy? And I'm Jason. And I was like, this is how it's done. And
well, that's how it
yeah,
should
and that's
always
what you
be.
did that
Like that's
night.
how it
As
should
soon as
always
you
be.
saw us coming up, you guys were like, "Oh, you guys," and you extended your hand and you shook all our hands, and it was just like, "Oh, this is going to be a fun shoot."
Dude, well, that's how. Well, the only reason, I mean, how do I explain this? That's all thanks to like my I'd say my dad, and like it, like aside from like
Yeah.
the industry and stuff like that, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? He's like, there's just some things you do, you know. He's like, just, you know, if it's coworkers in general, it's just, you know, well, and it's also just human decency. The whole like I've always like this whole superiority to other people. The whole, oh my god, and the fact that we just buy
It
into
absolutely
for
is.
some
Yeah.
people, it's just ridiculous to me, man. It's like I've always said, it's always good that I've never been on a set where someone's just like a huge diva, because I probably get fired, because I just like, this guy's an asshole. Why is no one doing anything about this? Like I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't do it. I know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like obviously I'd be professional. You know what I mean? I'm being dramatic here, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. I've never understood how that's just allowed to pass. I'm like, no one wants to punch this guy in the face. Like, and I get it. If we can't hit him, like, no one wants to be like, hey,
Yeah,
you're
I
also
love
just a
it.
person.
And I
Like,
think you
I've
can
never-
attest to this
I don't know.
too.
I don't know.
Watching Martin like treat everyone on the same level, like during like in between when cameras were setting up and stuff, like he would just go and talk to extras and be like, "So where are you from?" Like, and I was just looking at that being like, "That's why he's been in this industry forever." Yeah, Martin.
Did you say Martin? Oh my
Dude,
gosh,
sat
yeah,
with us like
dude.
every day at lunch
He's
and just like
awesome.
wanted to know us. And because in the movie, he's like kind of our
Yeah.
father figure because we don't really have anyone else because we're orphans. And I think
Yeah.
like not only he did that because he knew that he had to do that for the role, but I think he's just a genuinely just like awesome guy. And that's why he's worked so long and people love him.
Well, dude, and it's another thing that's so funny is like anytime you say like, oh yeah, well, I was like, you know, oh, who'd you move with? You're like, oh yeah, Martin
Yeah.
Sheen. People are just like, oh my god, Martin Sheen. Like it's just
He
that
is,
guy.
yeah.
He's also just
He
that
is.
guy. You know what I mean? Like he's the embodiment of
Yeah,
just the
he really is, and
happy man, you know?
like I said, he would just want to talk to you, and he was just so passionate. I think just about people, and I was just like, that's what I need to incorporate, like not like in a fake way, but just be like as an actor and just as a person, just be like, I want to know more about you because like I want to give you like real time, and I
Yeah.
really want to listen to you, and I think that really not only helps with being a person, but acting because acting is all about listening and like really carrying in that moment.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing,
Yeah.
piggybacking off
Uh-huh.
what we were talking about people being divas and stuff, the one thing I realized at a very young age, luckily enough, just working around eccentric people is just, you know, a lot of people chose this industry because I don't think something wrong with them, but like, you know, there's something a little wrong with you. Don't want to be so boastful about your emotions in general, and I don't mean that in a
Yeah.
bad way. I mean, there's obviously something wrong with me to that extent. But I think it's the artist,
Yes.
the crooked artist, kind of. You know what I mean? In a little ways, but it's like, but you know, everyone's coming from a different background, so there's a lot of people. It's like they may not be like it's just
Yeah.
like, if that's their character, if that's how they're handling it, or you know, there's a lot of things like it's helped me with the real world too, because I just don't really, when I say like I'm very passive with a lot of people, it's like I don't take too much of what's said to heart for like a lot of people because you just don't know really what their I don't know, like what their process is. It's only very specific things when it's like if you're just dehumanizing in general to other people, that's
Yeah.
like that's wrong. You know what I mean? But if it's like maybe I'm joking around on set and you don't laugh, or maybe I'm doing this and that or stuff, you know what I mean? Or people, and it's like there's some things you just can't
Absolutely.
like. Some people are just different with. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing I've realized. I've been on sets where it's like it's all jokes and we're all joking around. And then I've been on sets where it's very like you kind of chat, you kind of talk, but you know, that's the one thing. Like
Yeah.
just kind of
Absolutely. And
but
to kind of talk about 12 Mighty Orphans a little bit more. I mean, I feel like just everyone had a blast making it. Of course, like with anything, like any job or any time being on set, there's ups and downs. But I feel like we really all just like bonded. Like, you know, if someone says something in our little group message, like we talk for at least 30 minutes to an hour, just playing with each other and stuff like that. And I feel like that's really gonna pop off screen.
Oh,
And
yeah,
dude, I'm so excited to see it. It's one of the things I've been in that like I'm really excited to see. And I feel like I talk about it or think about it every day.
man, I'm pumped. No, seriously, I'm pumped, man. I think it's gonna, and I think when it comes, it's going to be it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, dude, and
for it to release,
like
honestly.
you crushed it, man. Like you really did.
Oh, I appreciate you. I'm like, yeah, it's always so funny. I mean, that's that's gonna be a big departure for me.
There was a moment.
So
I'm not gonna say what scene, but there's a scene where your character is speaking to all of us, and like in that moment, I was just like, I totally got out of character. I was like, man, Jake is really good, and then I was like, you know where the camera was, and I'm like, I genuinely mean that. Like, working with you is like it's a pleasure, and have you on right now is just like awesome. But the kind of to
really nice,
move away from filming, I really wanted to talk video games with you. Dude, no, I only have a PS4, so I mean, from what I've seen, I'm gonna have to wait.
Brutal, dude. Brutal. No, man, what have I been playing, man? I play everything. I really, dude, I've been so conflicted. I really want to start a Twitch channel. Like, I really do. I know. It's just a matter of doing it. I know it's just a matter of doing it. But it's just like, if I have an excuse to play video games all the time, bro, what am I gonna get done? Like, that's like, I don't know, because my thing is like, I'm very go with the flow. I'm also very I like to have some sort of checklist schedule.
It does, yeah.
You know what I mean? It keeps you accountable. But dude, lately, okay. So what did I play? Game of the Year.
I haven't played that yet, and I need to. It's on my list.
It's still Game of the Year. Cyberpunk, I'm playing on PS5. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like it's crashed for me. It's a little buggy, but like it's awesome. I really, really thoroughly enjoy it. I mean, I completely get the hate for console players.
Like the same thing happened with The Witcher 3 when it came out back in 2017. So, like, you just gotta wait.
That's what I said. No, the problem.
Yeah, that's true. And I think people also have to realize that Cyberpunk, like, is maybe one of the most cutting edge games of all time. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to make.
Well, and that's what I don't get. It's like, there's not this, there's not that. And I'm just like, but have you like played it on a console that runs it really well, or a PC? Like, it's insane. Just think of what you're doing. This is a literally Blade Runner city. We've never seen this in a game like this. And almost everything you can do is insane. I don't know. I'm not gonna. But the thing is, I'm not gonna defend the company. I think the way they did it was really crappy. Like, I mean, that's on them. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, give them a break, guys. It's like, no, you guys are a multi-million-dollar company, and you made millions of people on a broken game.
It is kind of cool to see that they're refunding people and stuff. So that's
dude, that's huge.
I think EA would never even dream to do that.
No, bro, never. God, so I was playing that.
Have you played Miles Morales? That one?
I love Spider-Man. So the new Spider-Man's amazing.
That's on my list as well.
I beat that stuff so quick. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Well, see, dude, that's my thing. If I started Twitch streaming, or like, but that's the thing. I don't even know if I want to do Twitch streaming as much as I just want to do playthroughs. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I know. I should. Well, the thing is like, and this is more of like champagne problems, I guess. But like, I have my TV in the living room, and that's where I play everything. I don't have anything like I can't really do a dope setup in there.
Yeah.
Unless I'd have to rearrange like everything or move my PS5 into my room and play on a small TV. It's just like, yeah, dude, I don't know, like. The TV size doesn't matter, dude. I grew up on this little gray, like, giant box TV I'd put on my on the feet of my bed, and I'd put my PS2 on top of it and play on it, right? I'd like play, and I didn't have a memory card.
Dude, so you leave it on overnight, you would play.
So yes, yeah. You just keep it on. PlayStation feels like a skillet in the morning. Yeah. but dude, the thing is, I would literally keep it on my feet and like sleep, and then wake up in the morning, and then go and leave my TV. It's just like lopsided on my mattress. Like that's like I would just like carry that TV if it's like my brother was in my room. I would just
That's awesome. Like growing up for me, we were never allowed to play during like the week. So whenever the weekend came, like I remember growing up, and especially in the summers, like all I would play is like PlayStation 2, Kingdom Hearts, it's like we didn't even have a TV stand in my room. I don't think I would just sit on the floor all day.
Dude,
I know, right?
Jack and Dexter. If they, dude, yeah, but even if they don't make a sequel, if they did what they did with like the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro series with Jack, like if they like gave it a new fresh coat of paint, upgraded like the controls and the interface and stuff,
those are some of the best platformers out there. God. Like,
I'd shit bricks, bro. I'd freak a leak, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I really wish they'd do that because I really want it. I want it bad, man. I was playing. What else? Oh, No Man's Sky. I played that. I didn't play it when it launched though, because I was like, oh, dude, you can't touch that. You can't touch it when it launched. Yeah. When it first launched, it's just like, yuck. But now it's pretty dope. But I deleted it because you can only have so much space on your PS5. And okay, okay. You wanna know some bullshit? And this is really what what Call of Duty needs to figure out. Okay, is why do I have to download all of Modern Warfare while I have Cold War just to play Warzone?
Oh my god,
that's like 200 something gigs to play Warzone. Yeah, it's like all these PS5 conversion. It doesn't make any sense because like when you download the game, you normally have to download the PS4 version of the game and the PS5 version of the game. If there's no PS5 version of the game, then you only download the PS4 version of the game and it like upscales the game. Or you can download games that are only PS5, but there's only like 7 of those right now.
I think I'm gonna wait like maybe a year or two till I get the PS5. Probably. I'll probably just see if I can get that one because I like legit got my own PS4 like last year, so I'm still like loving my PS4 right now.
Dude, this PS5 hysteria. Well, here's the thing about the PS5 too, though, is if you don't have the TV or anything for it to work on, it's not pointless, but it's kind of dumb. Like, you don't need the PS5 if you're not trying to play games at like 4K, 120 frames per second. Like, you don't like if you don't have TV and craft to run that, then it's literally pointless. You know what I mean?
I'm like also one of those guys that's like fine. There's so many games and I like playing like a vast like majority of different genres and stuff. So I'm still like playing PS3 games on PS Now on my PlayStation 4 that I never played before. Like I'm playing Fallout New Vegas right now, and I never played it before. And
see, I'm so jealous of that because like I'm an avid gamer. Like I've played just about everything out there. But the thing is, I also play every genre except sports. I don't get sports games. I don't like them.
Wow.
I don't like sports games.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Like I obviously get them. I completely get them. And they're so much fun to play multiplayer, but I've just never. But the thing is, I'm not much of a. I don't watch sports. You know what I mean? I just don't like. Yeah, I've just never really. But I don't disrespect sports. Like there's somebody like, I don't watch ESPN. What are they doing? Just throwing stuff back and forth.
Absolutely.
Like, come on, dude. You know they're doing more than that. Like, like I hate that crap. Like I think that's stupid.
Like
obviously,
this is
very impressive. Like, wouldn't be worth what it is if it isn't. But no, I think some
sport games are like the Mario ones, anyways. Like,
well, I was gonna say, the only sports games I played was like Blitz for Xbox and stuff. It's like, there's these sports games where you could like, it was like football, but it was basically brawling. Like you could like break people's legs and beat them up and take them down after you caught the ball and stuff. And I was like, well, that's
you just
fun.
unlocked like a part of my brain. I totally forgot about that game.
Oh, dude, I'm sure there's some games that just it's like a rabbit hole. Well, bro, I think about the PS2 when you used to get those demo discs that had like 7 different games on them, and I would just play through the first level over and over again on all these different games, bro. See, my thing is like I didn't have too much money. I didn't do
Mhm.
like an allowance or anything growing up until I started working, and then I did like I was like lucky enough to have like a system set up and everything, but I didn't really spend much money on games because I was like a GameStop barter basically. Like I would I would
Oh
never
yeah, that's
buy
the way
stuff
you
because
get
I'd
you get it.
always just trade at GameStop. Like always, dude. I like, and what's so funny is I lived walking distance to Universal City Walk as a kid,
Oh
like to when they
man,
had this giant GameStop before they turned into this comic store. And I'd basically just walk over the bridge every week and take, if I like, maybe I'd get like a refurbished PS3 and like 3 games, go over to my house for the week, play those games, take the refurbished PS3 and GameStop back, right? And then be like, all right, I'll
yeah,
get a DS and play the 3DS for a little bit. And like, I
dude,
would just
yeah,
kept going back and
I
forth.
mean,
It
you
was
were
the
on
easiest
another
way to do it,
level.
man.
I probably my parents probably only took me to GameStop like once or twice a year, usually around Christmas time. Dude,
Dude, if
like,
I
and
couldn't
then
walk
in the
there,
summer,
I
and
would have
like
been
whenever I
screwed.
got to go, I would just be like, I would like be sweating trying to figure out what game. Because if I got like whatever game I got, I would be playing that for like the next like 2 years. So it had like I read all the reviews. Like, I read how many hours
Oh
it took
my
to play.
god.
Like that's why I think I'm such a big RPG fan because you can get so many hours out of just one game, and games are so expensive now. Um,
Well, bro, that's what. Well, I mean, I guess that's what I've like. Yeah, I played Assassin's
yeah,
Creed Valhalla. It was pretty good. It's I don't know how I feel about it, but there's a lot of things about it I love and a lot of things.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna be
just miss
honest.
like old
The
Assassin's
people
Creed.
might hate me on this, but I no,
Like,
I've played. I think at least four of
never
them,
played
beaten
them.
them, and like I didn't enjoy playing them. I just kind of played it just so I could talk to my friends about it. Um, but I just didn't get the appeal. The only one I kind of like
Wow,
really
bro.
liked was Assassin's Creed 2. Um, for me,
Well,
it
yeah,
just felt like
that's
you're
arguably the
just doing the
best
same
one.
thing over and over again. But I like saying that I definitely see why a bunch of people like it. Um, but I've been playing like
Dude.
The Witcher 3 since this came out. Like I still play Skyrim, like and we'll do a different campaign. Um, and oh, something that we talked about on set was the Bioshock Infinite, which I think is like the best out there.
Uh, I still,
I wish,
I
man.
still
I
want
wish.
them to make a Bioshock series. I think that world is so
Dude, let's
rich
make it
with
happen, man.
lore, and that could
Netflix,
just be the
HBO Max,
coolest.
like
Oh
I
my
feel like
god.
those would be perfect homes for that.
I've always actually really wanted to write a script about the Bioshock universe. I just don't know what goes into that. Like, I don't know if I wrote a script, would I'd have to then go to the people that own it and be like, hey,
Yeah.
you
I
want
don't
to
know.
go
I'll
with
get
me,
Ken
or should I
Levine
like
up.
go? Like, I don't know how any of that works. That's the only thing that's kept me from like doing it because
I
I
say we
really,
do it
really,
and then
really
just
want to write a
change the
Bioshock
name
series.
and see
But
if anyone catches on. No, you know what? I actually just remembered. Guillermo del Toro was actually supposed to direct a Bioshock movie, but then um
what?
and Warner Brothers were going to do it. I think
Oh
so,
yeah,
and they ended up
wasn't
not
James
doing it
Franco
because
supposed to be in
the
it?
movie Watchmen ended up tanking. So they thought because the same producers were involved, so they like were like, you know what, nah, we're not gonna do that. Um, and that's such a bummer because I think Bioshock would be
Wow,
huge. And you could do so many different things with it too. Um,
bro, huge.
yeah,
Did you
yes,
play the
I played
original
through all
one?
of them.
Like
I
the
think the
Would You
only one
Kindly, like the
played
okay.
is like the
Okay, good,
DLC
good,
to the
good, good.
second game. That's the only one I never.
Oh
Dude,
no,
yes,
dude, the
that yeah, I have
DLC to
played both of
Bioshock
those. Like,
Infinite is
oh,
amazing.
yeah, noir
Rapture at
feel. I
Sea.
love
Oh my
that. Yeah.
god, that's just like
Well, I feel like I've taken up so much of your time, man.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you on
No,
again.
you're
Like,
good. This is so
it'd
much
be really
fun.
cool if I could get like all the 12 of you guys or all the 11 of you guys on and like do it through Zoom or something like that. I gotta figure out how to.
Oh, dude, that would be
We
fun. Well,
gotta
when
do
we
that.
know when the
That'd be
movie's coming out
insane.
and stuff,
But
we
dude,
definitely have to
again,
do it.
thank you so much for your time. Like, listen to the story and stuff. Like, I really didn't know a lot about that stuff, so it was really cool listening to that stuff. Dude, we gotta work together sometime, man. We gotta.
Oh, hey man, thanks for
Because I know
indulging
Chicken
me.
and Hardy, we only, I think we
Yeah,
only had like maybe one
yeah,
exchange of dialogue between one another. And we need to fix that. We need to fix that in our next movie.
dude, I know.
Dude, yeah, we should, man. Hey, we're both
We'll just
redheads.
make
We
our
could
own
play brothers
version.
or something.
Yeah.
Dude, dude,
We
I'm
could do
calling the
like the sequel
Coens
to
right
Brotherhood
now.
now.
Dude, I love that movie. But dude, thank you again. Do you want to like throw your Instagram out there or
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. If anybody's listening wants to follow,
yeah,
yeah,
and
it's at Jake
his
Austin
music's
Walker
great too.
or
Like
original.
it's kind of
Just
I'm
use my
kind
name.
of frustrated with how talented you are. Uh, but dude, like Jake's music is great. Go watch Rectify, go watch Stargirl, and then like I'm so stoked to see the movie that we got to do together, 12 Mighty Orphans.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Just wanted to say again, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to share. Feel free to share the episode with your friends and family, or maybe even just use this podcast as a Christmas gift. You know. But I just wanted to apologize again for the kind of wonky audio there. I feel like the other ones have been a little bit better. I think I'm going to try to do some Zoom stuff here soon with my next guest that I have on. Or if you have any movies or TV shows you want me to talk about on the show, feel free to write me at a onceuponatimeinhuntsville@gmail.com. Or feel free to slide in HSV podcast on Instagram and let me know what you're thinking about the podcast also. And thank you so much to all my listeners outside of the U.S. Like, that's crazy. Like Sweden. I can't pull it up because I'm recording on the app right now. But like Australia, it's just so cool to see like so many people listen to this. France, I saw. There's more places I'm blanking, but thanks guys. It like weirdly cut. Even Jake and I kept talking after I said that one part, and for some reason it didn't save the audio. So I just wanted to throw out there that he did say goodbye and like thanks for being on the show and stuff. You guys didn't hear that part, but again, Merry Christmas and God bless.